And so when somebody is sitting and meditating and we feel like they're doing nothing, some of that time, that's the hardest work that could be done. This is Active Empathy, and I am Lorette. One of the things that I wanted to speak about today was the identity factor, right? Is this creator that we have decided to be, right? Or that if you're not somebody who thinks we've decided to be this person that we are, right? So many moons ago, I have had a lot of experiences that have caused me to fail and fail miserably. And at the same time, I've also had a lot of experiences where I've had lots of success. And the time that I've had the biggest struggle, so over the last 10 years, was when I decided I had nothing to look forward to. I felt like there was nothing to do, be, or have. And I stumbled upon this idealization when I started down my spiritual path. And a lot of the times we get into these states, right? We are reading every book. We go into every video. We talk about the law of attraction, the law of assumption, the law of creation, the law of vibration, all of these things, right? And I found myself on every rabbit hole. And I also saw myself in the corporate world at the same time, wanting material items, needing, feeling like I was trying to grasp. And then I found myself in the non-material world, wanting nothing, doing nothing, feeling like I should just be one with the universe. What ended up happening is there was this level of confusion that happened. And I don't know if anybody else has felt the same way. So this is the person, if it's just the two of us, that you felt confusion, a lot of confusion on what this spiritual place is and where to go about and how to do it, and also how to continue to move forward and be a part of the spiritual world. And what ended up happening for me, and I'm no expert, is I found myself in a level of apathy, which basically found myself stagnant because I felt like I didn't want to be the version who wanted the material things. So I stopped anything that would cause me to get the material items. And I also didn't want to be the version of myself that caused the chaos, the sadness, and all those other things. So I stopped that version of myself. And I already had this understanding that I didn't really want, I wanted to be. And so the reason why that was confusing for me was because at the time I had had so many things that I felt like I was really good at. I felt like I was very sporty. I felt I was really good at, I felt I was great in the corporate world at the time. I felt I could do pretty much anything that I wanted. And because I found myself in this spiritual space, I actually found that I had more sadness and more confusion when I hit into these areas, because it went to my core issue for me, which is my act of wanting to be lazy. And so anything that proved to me that I felt like I could be lazy on a different level, or I should say proved to me that I was lazy, I would take a part of. And so when I hit into the spiritual space, there was book after book after book of stating, just be, don't do, just do nothing, do nothing, do nothing, do nothing. And what I recognize is there is a mastery around nothing. And what I now realize is that mastery requires practice. And so I want to say that again, because it is very important that the nothingness that we see that people are speaking on is a mastery, and it requires an immense amount of practice to sit with that level of nothingness that allows you to continue to be. And so when somebody is sitting and meditating and we feel like they're doing nothing, some of that time, that's the hardest work that could be done. And because of that being the hardest work that could be done, the doing of this world becomes easier because it's so much more difficult to conquer the mind than it is to conquer the physical. And so, not realizing that, I went into the level of apathy, thinking that I was doing the right thing, thinking I was the spiritual guru of all items because I knew how to do nothing. When really I was doing myself a disservice and allowing myself to grow. And when you do grow, when you don't grow, that's when the things that are turbulent and problems start to happen, and creation makes growth happen. And so one of the things and the places that I look to for my most amount of inspiration is nature, is the world outside, is the trees. Now, it may seem like a tree in the ground is doing absolutely nothing. And then we start to look at the science of the tree and how much it actually is doing and participating in the world around it by being itself. And it takes an immense amount of practice to get to the point where it can stand tall and be and have that grandiose feel that some of those big trees that we've seen have. And so it's a beautiful, I believe, analogy for what we can do as we layer ourselves inwardly. We layer ourselves just like we do just like a tree does with the rings of the tree, right? It layers itself with all of what it prefers. So if we continue to layer ourselves with the integrity that it takes to be the versions of ourselves that allows us to be in that nothingness, and also with what we view of getting what we prefer. So hopefully my lesson in that is helpful for anybody. It is just the two of us speaking today. I think that, one, you're wonderful if you're still watching this and this was helpful. And hopefully if there is something that you can take away, put it down in the comments or message me directly. I would love to hear about it, because this is a time of growth and knowledge that we have never seen before, and it's very exciting. And there's a time now that we can all truly connect to one another and be fully ourselves and shed what we've once formerly thought we knew into what we now can see is authentically whoever we are. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope this was helpful. If it's just the two of us and you do think that you can do it, you can. And if your heart is in it, it's yours.